Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is, sorry about that. Got a little bit of a scratchy throat. I think I got a sinus infection going. We'll soldier on. But today is October 27th, 2020, and it's Tuesday. So it's time for Trivia Tuesday. And the theme for today is going to be Halloween candy. But before we get to that, and you know, I was a little bit late today because I was looking at my Halloween candy trivia. Some of them I like, some of them I'm not a huge fan of, but we'll get through them. We'll see how we like them. I mean, we're not really here for trivia. We're here for trivia, but there's no points, there's no prizes, and we're just here to hang out. So let's see who else is here. We've got a lot of people in here already. Chris Yow's here, Philip Byrne. Let's see who else. Not really Hank Aaron. Not really Hank Aaron voted today in person. Took 20 minutes total. Awesome. Including the wait in line. Very comfortable experience. No one misses with my vote. Awesome. Great work, Hank. Or not really Hank Aaron. Let's get a cowbell for the voting for today. Good work. Yeah. Let's see. Not really Hank Aaron says Sage's ankle is almost 100%. Good. Awesome. Good to know that. Lewis M says, yo, what's going on? What's going on, Lewis? Martha's here as well. Daniel M says, yo, yo. For some reason, I thought it said yo, yo, yo. I thought it was 3 yo's, but it was only 2. I'm glad I stopped myself. That would have been embarrassing. Ryan Pauly says, yo, what's going on? JC says, howdy, howdy. A lot of doubles today. That's good. Danny J just giving 1 high, though. But that's all right. That's all right. I think it's starting a trend because now we got high all, just 1 high, 1 yippee from JC. You know, it works. It works. Stevie76 says, yo, what's going on? Daniel M says, good theme. I figured, I was going to do scary movies since we've been talking about scary movies and we watched a scary movie last week, but I just don't know enough. So I feel like even the most, like the trivia that I would make would probably end up being like super ridiculously hard. Like how many saws were on the wall in the end of the third, act of Saw 2? Like that would have been like a really weird, people like, what? Or they would have been like way too easy, just because I have no gauge since I'm not a big fan of the genre. But I think Halloween candy, I am a big fan of that genre. So I can do that. Curtis Law says, hi, chat and Kofuzi. Good vibes. Great video today. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Stevie76 is making a call at the grocery. Need anything? No, I think I'm good, Stevie. We're real good. JC says, I'm here for appetite stimulation. Well, we're going to be talking about candy, so I'm guessing that's going to happen. Ryan Tiramate is here from Brooklyn, New York. Very cool. Hopefully things are going well there. Scotty Evans Jr. says, what's up? Was that a wolf? Nice. Jennifer Herrings here says, it's Tuesday. Yep. Danny J is currently taking 1 poop, and then there's 2. Are you really on the toilet? I mean, that wouldn't be too big a surprise, I guess, but not because of you, but I mean, like, I guess people do watch like YouTube on the toilet. So, yeah. Speaking of toilets, though, yesterday, after the live stream, I spent like the next 2 hours with my father-in-law and mother-in-law, like fixing the toilet. Because I think one of my kids clogged it. It definitely wasn't me. I would totally own up to it if it were me. But it was either my wife or the kids that clogged the toilet. And, it took a long time to get it fixed. We plunged it for a long time. Then we snaked it for a while, too. We scratched up the porcelain real bad. My father-in-law actually went out and bought a new toilet today because that one got scratched up so bad. But it also, our family is totally trashing my in-laws' house. Not on purpose, but we're rough on it, I guess. We clogged it. I don't know who it was. One of the kids clogged it like 2 weeks ago, too, and a similar situation. And it took, after like 2 hours, I realized that my father-in-law had told me this. They have some sort of like water saver system in their toilet so that way it doesn't like, the tank doesn't fill up with quite so much water, and so the flush doesn't have as much water in it, which maybe is why there's clogs. But part of that system meant that whenever we were plunging it, you push it down to plunge the toilet, and there's supposed to be a seal in the system, and so the plunging pushes, so it's like forcing whatever clog is in there through the pipes, and that water conservation system made like an opening in the in that, like the plumbing, and so every time you plunged, it just didn't feel like anything was happening. And so after 2 hours, not that we were plunging the toilet for 2 hours, but after like 2 hours trying to figure this thing out, I was like, wait a minute. And then I put my hand like on the edge of this pipe or this like tube, and I did that, and then I plunged it like 4 times, and then it was problem solved. So we finally figured it out. But that kind of put a real wrench, so to speak, in everything for yesterday. So everyone was pretty grumpy yesterday evening about it. So, but it's all fixed. There's a new toilet. I mean, we have to install it, but yeah. So that's what we did yesterday. Speaking of poop, sorry about that. Mark Changogo says, I like the scrolling thing at the bottom. Yeah, it's one of the features that this software, this stuff can do. So it's working for me. I like it. It's the same feature that I'll use to show the questions when we do the chat or the trivia part as well. All right, let's do a couple, see a couple more people who are here, and then we'll get to the first question. Lolu7112 is here. Awesome. Ben Ang. Awesome. David Sachs says, anyone watch Ginger Ride Live with Jamie on last night? Good stuff. I totally watched it, although I didn't watch it live because 6 o'clock p.m. is when it was for our time, local. And that's dinner time. I like to, when I do dinner, whenever I cook dinner, I like to have dinner on the table at 6 o'clock sharp. At least that's what I try to do for when we're here, when there's everyone here. I try to give everyone a little bit more kind of certainty and predictability to that. And that's when the live stream was. So I didn't get to watch it live. I wouldn't have gotten to watch it live normally because I'd been eating dinner then, family dinner. And yesterday at 6 o'clock, I was like elbow deep in the toilet. So I didn't watch it live, but I watched it later after the fact. It was a really good interview. And it was a really nice conversation. It was fun. It was definitely a good one. If you guys haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. Definitely worth watching. All right. Let's check this out. Do one more thing before we get to the trivia for today. Steve says, yo, everyone, got out the door for you, Martha, and set a new PB in the RC Elite. Awesome. Great work, Steve. I had a tough workout today, and it just made me think of like, oh man, I got a 10K time trial coming up in a little bit more than 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, or like 2.5 weeks. And I'm like, that's going to be a long way to hurt. So I'm not really looking forward to it. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's, I'm sorry I didn't, I know there's a lot more of the comments in here, but let's see. A lot of people giving some advice about the toilets. Yeah. And anyway, but we'll get to the first trivia question. If you put in a question so far and I missed it, let me know. Write it again. I'm sorry about that. You can copy paste it, and then I'll get to it. But let's get to the first Halloween candy trivia for today. Since it's gonna be Halloween this Saturday. So this is the last trivia Tuesday before Halloween. So here's the first one. And the source is going to be according to data from September in 2019 from candystore.com. According to them, what is the most popular Halloween candy in the U.S.? What is the most popular Halloween candy in the U.S.? Let's see what we got here. Rainrunners here. Awesome. Remy says, saw Borat last night. Dude, a true sign of the times. I also watched Borat recently. I think it might have been yesterday. It might have been the day before that. But that movie was intense. And then I also today saw, I don't know where he was, but Sacha Baron Cohen was like in a tuxedo or something and talking about like quoting Voltaire. And it was remarkably insightful and cogent. And I'm like, how does this guy always create skits that go like 2 steps too far? Like, I don't, how is it the same person? But I mean, what he was saying was pretty insightful. But Borat was pretty over the top. You know, my favorite two characters are in Borat? The two dudes, his buddies, right? The one guy that he finds like outside the liquor store, and he's like, "Where is everybody?" And the dude's like, "It's COVID. Everything's shut down." And Borat's like, "I got nowhere to go," and they take him in. That part, I was like, those dudes are crazy as hell, but their heart is in the right place. I mean, they're not. I don't think they're real people, but still, I like the character. I like that happened to those characters. All right. Steven Gerzdorf said yesterday that people were calling for Kabuzi in the live chat. That's funny. I didn't see that because I did watch it, but I watched it on my Apple TV and it doesn't play the live chat when you do the Apple TV. At least I don't think. So I did write some comments because I was like, how come no one told me there was a family Zoom today? Because that's what it kind of felt like. All right. So Ben White, let's get to the trivia for today. The trivia is, what is the most popular Halloween candy in the U.S.? Ben White says, if you're counting individual pieces of candy, then it's got to be millions. Not really. Hank Aaron says candy corn. Martha says Stroop waffle. No. But maybe if they made smaller ones, they should make like Stroop waffle minis. Like they make the little mini like Oreos and Chips Ahoy. I would like that. Reese's, that's number 2. The peanut butter cups was number 2. Goku Runner says Tootsie Rolls. That was not it. I don't think anyone got it. Scotty B got it. Skittles. They say that they sold 3.3 million pounds of it. So I don't know if this is necessarily Halloween candy because the way, 3.3 million pounds. That sounds like a yearly figure. I could be wrong, but they said that Reese's peanut butter cups were 3 million pounds. So I'm going to go with Skittles, according to 2019 data. And they say it varies quite a bit state to state. Christia says Cohen is a super intelligent guy and his skits go too far on purpose in order to give others the space they need to reveal their true characters. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't want to give away any of the movie in case some of you guys are going to go see it. But there's parts where I feel like I like it where he took it, but like it's always just 2 steps too far. Rainwater says I don't like Skittles as much anymore now that the green is green apple and not lime. Bad mood Skittles. I never liked the lime, and I do like green apple. But I don't like the Skittles 5 flavors with green apple versus lime. I feel like they make so many other varieties, like the tropical. There's not just the red bag of Skittles anymore. There's so many other bags that they could have easily just done that. They keep the lime, and it's one of those things where like I don't really like the yellow ones either, lemon. But you have to have some of like the ones that are not as sweet for the sweet ones to taste sweet. You need balance. That's why I like it. Goku Runner. Yeah, that move away from lime pissed me off. That's funny. Daniel M says Skittles are vegan. Are they? Because, is there no what is it? Just refined sugar in it? Because refined sugar is not vegan, right? Because it's like filtered through bone or something like that. There's some sort of meat product that sugar is like passed through as part of the process. So I didn't know if Skittles are vegan. That's interesting to know. Yeah, Goku Runner says there's sour Skittles. So the green apple can be in sour Skittles. Yeah, there we go. But the tropical Skittles are trash. I feel like the tropical Skittles all taste too similar. That's my problem with them. But I don't know. I just think all the Skittles these days, I don't like them anymore. My kids love them. But like, I don't like them anymore. I just think it's all too sweet for me at this point. All right, let's get to Neat Penguin. How can sugar not be vegan? It's sugar. Yeah, it isn't. So if someone is a very strict, either like a very strict vegan, you can't give them like white powder sugar, as far as I understand. You have to get a different kind of sugar for vegans. For vegans, honey's an animal product. It's considered an animal product. So, yeah. All right. Question 2. People were talking about candy corn, but it wasn't originally sold. When it was originally sold, like when it first came out, however long ago, So, yeah, a long time ago. It was not marketed as candy corn. What was it originally marketed as? Let's see. Danny J says, even if Skittles are vegan, we shouldn't be eating that stuff. Red 40. Yeah. Let's see. So if they weren't candy corn, were they earplugs? Ryan Polly says. M. Gruner says monster teeth. Frank LaHuller says teeth. That's what I do when I eat them. I take the candy corn and I like stab them like I into my teeth so that I have like a mouthpiece full of teeth with it. No, does anyone else do that? Am I the only weirdo that does that? My kids love candy corn. I think it's so weird because it's a very strange taste. But we've been getting this one candy corn that comes from like a peanut-free producer, and it doesn't taste as like industrially sweetened or like chemically sweetened as like the kind that you get in the giant bags. And I don't mind it, but I would never be like, all right, here, we're going on a candy run. Let's make sure we get this, and candy corn. It's not going to ever be on my list. But the candy corn that my wife gets for the kids, it's actually a little bit better. Martha thinks it's candy flame. Gunnar says sugar bullets, sugar triangles. Steven Gerzer says jack-o'-lantern teeth. CV76 says drugs. Yeah, there used to be Coke in it. No, that's not it. What is this? What are these? Candy corn. Yeah, candy corn. Fangs, laxatives, lots of crazy answers. But the correct answer is candy corn was originally marketed as chicken feed. So it was invented in the late 1880s. And it was mass produced as early as the 1900s called chicken feed because of the white, orange, and yellow stripes resembled a corn kernel. I mean, chicken feed, Ember says. Yeah, chicken feed. It's weird. It's weird. I wonder, like, do you think when that first came out, was that good? I mean, I know none of you guys were around here in the 1880s or the 1900s, but like, it's like, black licorice. That seems to be, in large part, a generational thing. Like my father-in-law loves black licorice. I think it's gross. A lot of people think it's gross. My one of my nieces loves black licorice jelly beans though, and I think that's weird. But it's like one of those older flavors that is sweet, right? Or like thought of as sweet by like a previous generation. Was like candy corn when that first came out? Was that like Skittles, or like when like decades from now, are people gonna be like, you like Skittles? That's so gross. I only bought those as like a novelty. I only bought those because they were disgusting. Like, I wonder if that'll happen. I mean, I could see that happening with Skittles though, just because they're so sweet. That like anything that we consider candy now might be considered like toxically sweet by like subsequent generations. I hope that's the case because everything we eat is sweet. But weird musings about candy. George Lopez says, did you know that candy corn hasn't been produced since the 1930s and just recollect all the uneaten candy corn each year? Wait, Stevie said, did I say my father was alive in the 1880s? No, he wasn't alive in the 1880s. Clearly, he wasn't. I misspoke. Goku Runner agrees with me. Black licorice is gross. Thank you for the backup and the support on that. Raynor says, I just had a tamale. Much better. Tamales are good. I haven't had a good tamale in a long time. That's a shame. There used to be a couple of places. Tamales got really popular right before the pandemic hit. And then there were a couple of good tamale spots in the Loop. And I would have them for lunch regularly. And they were just unconscionably expensive too. It'd be like a couple of tamales and some chips and be like $8. And I'd be like, ugh. But I want a tamale. So I would do it from time to time. But Yeah. I miss tamales. Ben Eng says Danish people go nuts for salt licorice. One of my colleagues used to bring it back as office treats and caught out so many people. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Neat Penguin says licorice is still going strong in Scandinavia. It's also good for freaking out other people. Okay, there we go. Martha says candy corn has a half-life equal to polonium. That's funny. Where there was a comment about refined sugar. Oh, here we go. Nick Matthews says refined sugar is made white by being bleached with bone char. Wow, I learned that just now. There you go. Yep. Danny J says, can we address the fact that candy corn being candy started as someone getting hungry enough to eat chicken feed? That's like eating dog food. And next year, it's the tea or the tea bag. It's in the tea or the tea bag. Chris says black licorice is a heart thing. Is it? I thought it's not good for your heart. It's bad for your heart. I always forget. I feel like something that tastes like black licorice has got to be good for you, right? Like maybe you're supposed to like steep it in hot water and make a tea, and then like, you know, you crumple in some like other weird herbs, and then all of a sudden you've got like a remedy for baldness. Maybe I need that. Yeah. Sean Marshall says, I'm here and I'm ready to look at some weird nondescript Amazon products. Maybe next week. I've been getting some weird ones, but they're really specific. So like, I mean, not that the ones that I showed you guys weren't weirdly specific, but it's like, you know, a replacement part to a certain kind of like, you know, something that belongs in a weird kind of office, you know, that's how that fun. I got to get some weird fun ones. So don't worry. The cookies and the algorithm are feeding me lots of stuff. I just got to find the good stuff. All right, let's get to the next question. Question number 3. All right, in what year did candy makers start making smaller, fun-size candy? This is actually something that I was thinking about the other day, because I was like, I don't remember like at what time did we start seeing the fun sizes? Because I feel like that was a new development in my lifetime, and I just couldn't think of it. So I was really happy to see like this question come up. None of these questions are ones that I wrote myself. I lifted them from other places. Reader's Digest, Parade, I think. Parade? Like the thing that comes in the Sunday paper that no one reads. And some other places like that. Yeah. So we got lots of answers. Key verification when President Bush was elected. Which one? 1987, 2003, 93, 82. Hey, Shannon. 1492, 1982. Let's see. Martha says 1962, Danny 1973, and Gruner 85. Oh, lots of guesses. 71, 94. All right. Yeah. The actual answer is 1968. And I didn't think that the fun size goes back that far, but the Mars Corporation, Mars Inc., Mars, the makers of Snickers and Milky Way, made the first fun sizes of candy bars. And then I think one of their competitors, the one that make Baby Ruth, I was reading about it, and they're saying like they started making fun sizes like the next year, and they tried to sue them to stop them from copying like the fun size. But they lost. So, yeah, but that's where it came in the late 60s, which then it's like, when did like the micro size? That's the most frustrating size. So the fun size is like a little rectangle. And then you've got the little ones that are tiny squares. And it's like you can eat 7 of them and you've eaten as much as like a candy bar, but you still feel like you haven't even had any candy yet. That is the most frustrating size to me. That one just makes me mad. Especially when it's a Milky Way, because it's like a little bit of shell and then whatever it is, that weird filling that's in the inside of a Milky Way, it's like there's nothing in it, but it's like, oh, but I've also just had like a big dose of candy, sugar, fat, and salt, but I don't feel satisfied at all. Yeah, so that is my most frustrating piece. That size, yeah, the mini size. Yeah, Sean says, wow, it feels like such a 90s thing. That's when I thought it came about, because I feel like that happened. I feel like that happened when I was like in like trick-or-treating prime. But I guess it didn't. I don't know. Scott Gerstein said, does anyone actually like malted milk balls? I love them. Whoppers? I think those are so good. And my nephew, he loves them too. He's my wife's godson, and we just give him boxes of it for Christmas presents, like several boxes, and he's so happy with it. It's easy to shop for a person who likes malted milk balls. Yeah, Martha was the closest, I think. Raynor says, where'd it go? I just Googled candy corn, first created in 1888 by a company that later became Jelly Belly. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I remember in college is when I discovered Jelly Bellies, and my buddies and I were like, you could have like a 3-course meal by combining different flavors of Jelly Bellies, and it would be amazing. We should totally do that. We never did that. We didn't have like that kind of discipline. Keeper Begin says, when did corporations begin becoming scumbags? Answer, well, Bob, they started drinking the candy back in 68. That's funny. Stephen Gerzer says, favorite candy bar? Milky Way dark chocolate? Really? I feel like that one's okay. Again, the filling that's in the Milky Way, it's just frustrating to me. I'm like, this is not satisfying to me at all. I say probably, I like Baby Ruths a lot. I like Butterfingers. I also like Toblerone, but I always feel like I'm going to lose a filling when I eat a Toblerone. I like you know what my favorite mix of candy bars is? The Hershey's ones. The ones that come in like the wrapping is really nice. It's like foil on the one side and paper on the other, and there's like Mr. Good Bar. What is it? Crackle, the red one? Crackle, the one with the crisp rice in it. That one, and then like the Hershey's, and then like it's an old school mix. It's been around like since the 80s. Like that one is probably one of my favorites. I also do like Crunch bars a lot. I really like Crunch bars. I don't know. Someone quoting me when I intentionally mess up Jamie's sign off. Benoit, if you can, don't do drugs. I think it actually really makes him mad when you mess up his sign off. So I always do it whenever I'm with him. I always say, keep it tight, stay in school, and if you can, don't do drugs. All right, fluffy nougat. That's what's inside. Is that the nougat? Is that what that's called? That stuff that's in the Milky Way? Nougat? Yeah, I have a hard time with that. Let's see. Daniel M said, just poured a 4th tap of Neapolitan stout beer, and it's darker than the black licorice that only Danny J likes. Funny. Awesome. Oh, Goku Runner. Anybody like Rolos? I love Rolos. And Rolos are safe. Well, things can change all the time, but Rolos have been safe for us to have in our house from a peanut allergy perspective because they're made like in their own facility, I guess. And so we get Rolos a lot. I love Rolos. My mother-in-law makes a Christmas cookie that basically it's a cookie with a Rolo baked inside it or on top of it. And it's super delicious. It's really good. I used to get Rolos on road trips. That would be like my go-to road trip candy. Those are really good. All right. We got a running question today. No problem. No problem changing the subject. Lucas Luli Campos says, hey, Kofuzi, since you run based on heart rate, what would be a good half marathon heart rate average? Sorry to change the subject, running my first in 5 days. It's going to differ for each person. So that's the hard thing. And that's always going to be the hard thing about running by heart rate. It's going to vary by person. The advice that I saw, it was someone that Florence Gearman interviewed, and she runs everything from, half marathons up to 100-mile races. And she says basically for every event up, distance up, she goes down 5 beats per minute in heart rate. Now I'm guessing between like 50K and between like 50 mile and 100 mile, it's probably a little bit more of a drop than 5 beats per minute. But it kind of plays out for me. So for me, my marathon heart rate is, 160 to 165 for me is right about where I'm at. And that's going to be different for you unless you're a 40-year-old dude like me who has the same max heart rate and same everything else, which you probably don't, because everyone's going to be different. So if I were to do a half marathon, I'd probably go somewhere in this 165 to 170. Now, I know from experience that like my threshold is somewhere right around like 171 to 173, like right around there. Like if I'm above 170 for about an hour, I'm going to hit the wall. So I know that I need to be able to run longer than that to get to the finish line of a half marathon. So I'll dial it back from there. So I would probably, if I were targeting a half marathon, look to be, in the 165 to 168, and then like let myself peak every once in a while past 171, 172 and get in that area, but try to hit like 168. So that's kind of where I would be. That's how I would approach it. All right. Good question though. 4. This isn't really about, it's about trick-or-treating. So it's not really about candy. But what Celtic tradition led to modern day trick-or-treating? Because everyone talks about like Halloween and like, All Saints Day and Day of the Dead. But this question, wherever source I got it from, imply that a Celtic tradition led to modern day trick-or-treating. So I thought I'd put it in here, see what you guys think. What Celtic tradition led to modern day trick-or-treating? Daniel M says, let's make a business together inventing a new candy. We'll call it Gummy Tummies. I feel like candy business has got to be a real tough one to be in, because like even if you make a good candy, I feel like the economies of scale are just not in your favor. And like, because you're going to need to get distribution, you're going to need to be able to get shelf space at like the convenience store. Like there's so much that you got to be able to do to get it to beat like a Mars bar, right? So that's why I feel like candy can be hard. But Gummy Tummies, I'm not sure that works. But I like how it rhymes. Martha says, doesn't Jelly Belly have a cycling team? I didn't know that. Huh. All right. But you know what? Meat Penguin said the Celtic tradition is called raiding Roman camps. That's not exactly it. But I think Daniel M's got it. Samhain, right? I think that's pretty close because I don't know how to pronounce these words. So here's the answer that I'm going to give you. The answer that I have is for the celebration of Samhain, Samhain is what they called it. People would put treats out or food out to pacify evil spirits. So I don't know if that's the same thing. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, I hear what Raynor. I think this is actually pretty controversial. Raynor says, I do like Cadbury candies in the UK. They're crunchy. Cadbury's are so weird to me. I think that's a very strange candy. It feels like, because it's like they tie to an egg. I think their big push is on Easter. The fact that it's like a liquid on the inside makes me feel like I'm eating raw egg. And so like the fact that it's gooey, even though I know it's clearly not an egg, but because it's so associated with an egg, the fact that it's runny on the inside makes me think that I've got raw egg that I'm eating. Yeah. Danny J said he didn't know the answer, but they were probably calling their candy sweetmeats, which just sounds bizarre. That's funny. All right. JC says, is famine an appropriate answer? No, but it kind of like ties into the next question. So question number 5 is, when was Halloween first celebrated in the United States? This is question number 5. When was Halloween celebrated in the United States? Remy says, I got serious meat sweats in Vegas one time. Not pleasant. Yeah, that sounds not great. I've had meat sweats before. That was not good. That was, yeah, not a great thing. Oh, Daniel M said they pronounce it that way. Samhain, they pronounce it that way in Halloween Curse of Michael Myers. Oh, okay. Awesome. There we go. Jennifer Herring will not eat runny eggs. Here's the thing, though. As much as I think that Cadbury eggs are gross because they're kind of like runny, and if it's the right word to use with that candy, I will eat runny eggs all day long. If I cook them at home, like if I go to a restaurant, I won't. I don't really want to have runny eggs. But if I'm aware of when the eggs were purchased, I'll eat runny eggs. I'm fine with that. I'm just a lazy cook sometimes. If it's someone else's eggs, I'll make sure they're not runny. But for mine, I'm like, everyone else's food is ready. This egg is close enough. Let's eat. That's kind of how I feel. Ina says, UK sweets are much nicer than US chocolates. They're quite different. I will agree with that. US chocolates, I think for a variety of reasons, are just super saccharine. They're just so sweet. And for chocolates, there's not as much chocolate. I think that, am I wrong on this? I thought like years ago, there was some sort of like regulation that made it that the American formulations of chocolate candies couldn't be sold in the US as chocolates because there wasn't enough chocolate. I don't think I made that up, but let me know if I made that up. If you guys are like that, I've never heard of that. But I'm pretty sure that's, I don't know, I probably have to fact check myself on that one because, yeah. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of like milk chocolate here. My wife and I like super dark chocolates. My wife, she'll eat like a 98% bar of chocolate. She just loves it as a snack. She thinks it's delicious. And I'm like, oh, I can go like 70, maybe 80 if I've got some wine to go with it. But like anything more than that, it's just like, now you're just trying to like be tough. That's how I feel about like the super strong or high percentage of cocoa chocolates. There was a comment about sweetmeats I think we need to get to. Where'd it go? Oh, I missed it. Sorry. All right. Yeah, Martha says dark chocolate between 69 and 75% is my favorite. That's a good. Oh, 65 and 70%. That's good. That's a good range. I like that range. Jody says I find U.S. chocolate super sweet. It is. And Bryony says Americans use too much high fructose corn syrup. Probably. U.S. anything is too sweet. That's true. Although you know what, some places are sweeter than others. One of the ways that I describe Midwestern food compared to like the same things that you might find in the Midwest and like the East Coast is that it's a little bit more sugar, a little bit more fat, a little bit more salt, just a little bit more of everything. My suspicion is because of it's just the Midwest. It's a little bit colder. Winter is a little bit harsher here, so you got everything has to be a little bit heartier. So that's kind of how I feel about most stuff. Like if you've tasted something on the East Coast, Korean food is that way. Pizza is definitely that way. I feel like a lot of Italian food is that way. That's just it's sometimes it's really obvious. Some like in breakfast foods, very very sweet in the Midwest. But other things it's a little bit more subtle. Adam Steve says he gets 100% chocolate at Trader Joe's, and it's allegedly from the UK. But I also feel kind of like I'm getting punked. Why do you think that? You don't think you're getting real 100%? JC says, has anyone ever been in a sincere pumpkin patch, and how would you know? I used to work in a pumpkin patch. That was my first job ever. When I was like 15 years old, New Jersey has a lot of farms. A lot of people don't think that because they think of The Sopranos or Jersey Shore when they think of New Jersey. But there is quite a bit of agriculture. Or the state like motto or nickname is it's the Garden State. Tomatoes are particularly delicious from New Jersey. But I worked in a pumpkin farm, and in the spring, me and a couple other guys on the track team, we would plant. And for whatever reason, you can't use, or maybe this farmer just didn't have like a machine that could plant it, and instead he just hired like local kids and paid them a couple bucks under the table. And we would walk down the field, and he'd want us all to stay in like lockstep. So we'd like take 2 paces, dig out a little bit of dirt with your foot, drop a couple of seeds in, cover it up with your foot, and keep walking. And we'd do that all the way. And then in September, we'd go pick the pumpkins. And it was a good way to make money. And with your friends, it was manual labor. So I always felt like, well, I feel like I'm getting stronger from this. You know, I didn't mind manual labor like for like 2 weeks out of the spring and 2 weeks in the fall. And yeah, it is in a pumpkin patch, like a real pumpkin patch, not like the kind that like you go and like, you know, oh, you come with your family and it's like Instagrammy, but like a farmer's pumpkin patch. It's full of rotten pumpkins. It's disgusting. And for the longest time, I still don't really like pumpkins. I don't like touching them. I don't like picking them up. It freaks me out when people pick them up by the stem. I get really mad about that. And I'm always paranoid that when I pick up a pumpkin from the bottom, like when it's supposed to, that when I put my hand in it, I'm just going to poke my fingers all the way through because it's rotten to the bottom. Because that used to happen a lot. And I really detested pumpkins for a long time. And only till like, basically, once we had kids and like I had to have pumpkins because of the kids, that's like the first time I bought a pumpkin since I was like, yeah, on my own ever. So yeah, I hated pumpkins for a long time. Still not a big fan, but yeah. And Cocoa Run and Jollibee spaghetti is good. Yeah. I've never had it that way before. I mean, is it just hot dogs and the spaghetti? But I mean, Jollibee is like a franchise, so they have like a special flavor, right? Yeah. Yeah. And Martha says, ew, I'd be afraid of slugs if I picked up something from the garden from the bottom without seeing what's there. I hate slugs. Ugh. Yeah. Alex, see this goes. You now have to recreate the candy spaghetti from Elf for a Monday mukbang. You got it. We're gonna do that. Well, we'll do that closer to. Well, we'll do it closer to Christmas. So like in a couple weeks. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Next week, I think I'm gonna do the honey stinger chews because everyone talked about how much they hated them or they didn't work for them. So I'll do that next Monday, and then the following Monday we'll do candy spaghetti from Elf. I love that movie. That's my favorite movie. Because I think we have all that stuff in the house. We've got marshmallows. We've got like M&Ms, chocolate syrup, and lots of spaghetti and maple syrup. So we've got all those things. So we're definitely going to do that. Yes. All right. On that note, here's the bonus question for today. We'll do one bonus question. And I've seen some varying numbers on this, so I'll accept a range of numbers. But here's the bonus question. How many calories are in an average trick-or-treater's Halloween stash? And I think by this, they're saying like how much is in the bag or the bucket that your kid gets. And I know some kids have bigger hauls than others, and some areas, different regions have different candies that they give out. So I'm not sure exactly how they determine this number, but I have a number in mind from a source that I got. I don't remember the source, but from a place I saw on the internet, I have a number in mind. What do you guys think? Go. Martha says 635. 635? No way. It's got to be way higher than that. For like the entire bag, that's a lot of candies. I mean, I guess they are fun size though. Frustratingly small size. Daniel M says 8K. Goku Runner coming in at 48.98. Kiefer Vacations is like 50K. I mean, if you get like a pillow sack, or like a pillowcase full, that's got to be a lot. Carrie S says 10,000. Rain Runner coming in at 21.3. Scott Stewart coming in at 10K. Jeff Elliott 5,000. Okay, Rain Runner meant 1,300. All right. Matt Legrand coming in, guessing 700. Goku Runner with $1. Ben Y says over 9,000. Yeah. All right. So Joho says 3.5 marathon worth. How many calories does one burn in a marathon? I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever looked at that. I'm trying to think like on like a 20-mile run, I think I'll burn like 2,000, 3,000 calories. Does that sound right? I'm actually not sure. Yeah, I can't think of it. Jeff Ellie says, I regularly eat 500 during a long run. If I have like on a long, like a Saturday long run, if I bring 2 gels with me, that's, I don't even know. I haven't thought about it that much. I don't think about the caloric intake. I think about the sugars. It's 40 grams of sugars, but I don't know how much calories that is. Jeff Light thinks it's about 3K in a marathon. Okay, that sounds about right. Matt says 2,500. I could see that. Yeah. All right. Chris Dyke did 2,100 calories on my last 20-mile run. That sounds about what I do. But the answer that I had, and I'll tell you the other answers that I kind of also saw in other trivia questions. According to this one, it was 11,000 calories in an average trick-or-treater's Halloween stash. So like the entire collection. Other ones, I think we're saying more along the lines of like how much does a kid consume on like Halloween, and that one gave a number. I don't think they didn't say it quite so succinctly, but I think that's kind of what they were going for. And that person estimated it was going to be 5,000 to 7,000. So I don't know, maybe, yeah, my kids won't be a good example because we're not going trick-or-treating. And I don't think this year, I mean, I guess this year lots of people are going trick-or-treating. But I mean, one way you could do it is kind of like take a look at what's in there, estimate how many mini sizes of the frustrating sizes that there are, and how many, and just do a rough estimate. But that's a lot of sugar. It's a lot of calories. It's pretty crazy. Oh, awesome. Martha says, don't eat it all that night. If they consume that, however, they probably barf it up before their body metabolizes it. Stephen Gerzer says, pillowcase holds 20K easy. That's funny. Oh, funny. Shannon says, whoa, Nelly. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of calories. You know what I would used to do, though? I would food hoard a lot of my Halloween candy because my mom never bought candy in the house. I mean, my cousin used to live with me for a little while, and when he lived with us, then it's like, oh, all of a sudden we got now we got candy and we got like real cereal and all this other stuff because he asked for it. I was like, thanks, Mom. Anyway, but when the few times when my mom would buy candy, I would hoard it, and I would try to make that Halloween stash last as long as possible. So yeah, I mean, like, I told my wife this at the beginning of the pandemic, that like something where like being away from other people, like kind of like hoarding resources, rationing food kind of thing, like squirreling away food for a later time and just being able to deal with living in a weird situation. I'm purpose built for this pandemic. Like I'm really well suited to handle this global catastrophe because I'm also a candy food hoarder, and I can just apply that skill to everything else that needs to be done to survive 2020. So yeah, Benoit says like a squirrel for sure. Yeah, I think like a squirrel can be one of my spirit animals for sure. Yeah. Sorry, got something buzzing on me. Chris Dyke says, I don't have kids and haven't been a kid in a while, but do kids actually eat the whole stash that night? I don't think so. I don't think that they do. I think they eat a lot that night, like when they get home and while they're eating. But like these days, everyone is like, and you know what? It's really prevalent around here. The idea that you can't eat your candy as you go because you have to take it home. Your parents have to inspect it to make sure no one's tampered with your candy to put strychnine in it or something like that. So I don't think a lot of people eat it along the way. So if it's a late night, you don't get back till late, you don't get a chance to eat like a ton of the candy if you got to go to school the next day. But I do think that a lot of candy does get eaten. WW says, be a prepper, man. I asked my wife this like 2 months ago. I'm like, do we need to start buying like the 5-gallon bucket of dried like enchiladas? Like the things that come in the tubs, like the paint bucket tubs, like for that real preppers get, like, do we need to get that? Because we've got like a stash of like mixed vegetables and like beans downstairs in cans. But like, do we need to get like the big, like dehydrated, like you rip open the top and then you pour boiling water in it and like that's your food? Like, do we need to get that? And she's like, I don't think we need to either. But I do remember very distinctly in March in Chicago, like the canned food aisle, there was nothing. There was no canned food to get. Like, I mean, no mixed vegetables, no even like the weird beans that you're like, who eats this bean? Like, I don't understand this. All those were gone. Everything was gone. So I'm like, I don't know. Do we need to start hoarding food again? I don't know. All right. Danny says, like, I'm like a squirrel except malt balls instead of nuts. Funny. All right. Sean Marr says, Kofuzi about the Shawshank, all the candy corn in the cornfield this holiday. No, I mean, my kids lead it, so they're fine with that. They won't let me. They won't let me take it. They know where it is. Jeff Elliott says, I eat all the weird beans. I was ready to eat all the weird beans, but there were no weird beans to be eaten. That was the problem. All right. Okay. I think that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. Although we got to do this. Adam Steve said, YouTube fed me a creepy ad for a guy selling lifeboat food. What else have you been watching, Adam? I haven't gotten that, and I get a lot of weird stuff on YouTube, but I don't think we're there yet. Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens in the next week or so, probably. Then we'll reevaluate. We'll reevaluate the situation. Oh, next Trivia Tuesday is going to be on Election Day, right? Am I right on that? Am I doing the math wrong? Next Tuesday? So that should be interesting. That'll be interesting. But yeah, I'll have to have some. I don't. What do you even make the trivia about on an election day in 2020? I'll think of something. But hopefully you guys had fun with the Halloween Trivia Tuesday today. I thought it was okay, but I did have a really great time talking to you guys, even though the questions were only so. I'm glad hopefully you guys had fun. I did. I'm glad that you guys were all here. Tomorrow's video is going to be about the workout that I did today, which totally kicked my butt and I had a very hard time with. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon, same time, 3 p.m. Central Time. That may be a different time than normal for some of you in the UK, in Europe, and then in Australia, it's already been a different time for another week. But after this Saturday, then everything will kind of go back to normal. But hopefully I'll see you guys then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.